Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to give the video broadcast a big thumbs up, and share. That way other folks will know that we're here and notifications are generated. Yes. And for that, we say thank you so much, family. Certainly, many of you all have heard about the nonstop conflict that has been happening in the DRC Congo. Yes. How many of you all know that there are a lot of different moving parts to that conflict that seemed to have sparked a few years ago out of nowhere? Now, some of you may or may not have been following my geopolitical content since that time. Yes, this girl from Mississippi in the United States of America that now lives in the Wild Wild West, but I was exactly right to discuss it and many other countries around the planet for good reason. And so I'm bringing this up because one of the things that I talked about before is that seemingly out of nowhere, civil conflict began in this region out of nowhere after what appeared to be a time of relative peace a few years ago. Yes? Well, one of the things that I brought out that was little talked about in mainstream media was the fact that in Sudan, I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna come back to the DR Congo in a minute. Specifically in Sudan, what they didn't tell us is that the Russians had met with one of the Sudanese officials about a base. And the United States slipped up and threatened them and told them that if they were to open it up and give a base to the Russians, that there were going to be consequences. I discussed it right here on the African Diaspora News Channel. Out of nowhere, there seemed to be a drama related to that region. Yes. Now, with DR Congo and some of the others, I remember doing coverage on them. I remember talking about one of the emissaries, the press emissaries came to the United States. Actually, he was involved, I believe, if I remember correctly, because I've been doing so much content, I believe he did an interview with one of the geopolitical think tanks here. And he really put the interviewer in his place because basically they were trying to dictate terms, and as the United States does, whenever we're talking about the United States or the West, we love to try to talk about how their forms and governance of governance and their nation's governance setup is somehow superior. And somehow we're always intimating that either directly or indirectly in conversation. So specifically, the DRC's rep put that particular interview in their place in that particular time. I remember discussing that right here and basically exposing the media for, upping the ante and being a part of the problem in so many words. I'm paraphrasing all of that. Yes. Now, obviously, when I brought up the Sudanese situation and how the United States did some little dirty stuff, and then we wondered how all of a sudden everything that was relative peace, and then boom, there's something going on there. Similarly, I shouldn't say the same because I don't want to just blend in. There are 54 countries on the continent, so I don't want nobody to think, oh, she's mixing all that up. I'm just trying to say there's a similar principle at work. Without getting into the details of a lot of that, one of the different moving parts had to do with Rwanda and the fact that we were saying that Rwanda is a problem, and even some of the blacks and some Africans around the country, blacks in the United, not just in the United States, but Africans from different countries were actually chastising and criticizing Rwanda for backing certain rebels there, right? I was still reluctant to speak on it, especially in a negative way, because I just felt like that with the civil war and the genocide that Rwanda dealt with, and because of a lot of the gains that Rwanda has made that the public doesn't talk about it being a thriving country, it being beautiful, the fact that it takes in so many refugees, and some of the very regions that you all are saying that they helped to back, some of that wasn't adding up for me. And I felt like that I needed to be further educated, and certainly I needed to be guided more about what I say before just jumping out there even in the face of folks saying that they blamed Rwanda for a lot of what was going on and they were shocked behind some of the stuff they were doing. Why am I bringing all that up? I want to give you a little bit of context. I'm reading now from Al Jazeera. This is just out. Are you ready? DRC Congo, Rwanda agreed to draft peace deal by May 2nd. The subheadline says, U.S. brings the two countries' foreign ministers together and voices an interest in investment in DRC's mineral-rich East. I want to reveal to you two things just off the top, among other reasons, dirty little secrets, dirty little hidden reasons why the United States is all of a sudden involved in DRC, Congo, Rwanda peace talks. Watch this. A little more background. Yes, Rwanda and Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, have agreed to draft a peace deal by May 2nd, committing to respect each other's sovereignty and refraining from providing military support to armed groups. DRC Foreign Minister, I don't want to mispronounce her name, but I beg your pardon if I do, Teresa Kayikwamba Wagner and her Rwandan counterpart, Olivier, and I'm certainly not going to even try to pronounce his name, but I will spell it, yes, out of respect, Nduhunehe, signed the agreement in a tense meeting in Washington, D.C. on Friday, in which, are y'all listening? The two did not shake hands. The deal, part of diplomatic efforts to end the violence in Eastern DRC, came 2 days, y'all ready? After Qatar brokered an unexpected truce between the African nations. Did you all know that? The United States brought the two countries' foreign minister together and voiced an interest in investment in the DRC's turbulent but mineral-rich East, where fighting between DRC forces and M23 rebels have intensified since January. The M23 have captured key cities in the East and in a campaign that has left thousands dead. The United States and the United Nations experts say M23 is backed by Rwanda, which has repeatedly denied the charge, saying it is defending its security against hostile militias operating in the DRC, including remnants of the Hutu-led, y'all remember that? The genocide related to them? Group behind the 1994 genocide. Watch this. Friday's joint declaration signed in front of the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio pledged the two sides would halt military support to non-state armed groups, though it avoided naming M23 directly. Now, this is one of the things I'm saying. If we're going to dog Rwanda, how do we dog Rwanda when Rwanda takes in more immigrants fleeing multiple countries? And they're thriving, it's safe, it's beautiful, the economics have risen there and a bunch of other stuff. I'm just saying, that's why I didn't want to just jump out and say that. And then when we in the United States and the West hear, oh, M23, we don't even know about the different moving parts of M23. So as soon as we hear M23, because there's been so much propaganda, we immediately want to call Rwanda and its president and its leadership the devil. I wanted to avoid doing that until more information came out. Now, even though they didn't shake hands, I think it's a step in the right direction. Two of the main reasons that's off the top of my head, and I know more is coming, so mark my words, but two reasons we can see off the top. Why? Of course, the United States is engaged in that. Well, if you ask me, a part of the warfare has everything to do with control of the land for multiple reasons, including the resources there. So yes, of course, they're showing an interest in mineral-rich DRC. So of course, that's one of the dirty little secrets why they're doing that. But another reason is exactly what I said a few minutes ago. What did you say, Vicki, a few minutes ago? I said that the United States decided to get involved in this and hosted it after what? Qatar brokered an unexpected truce. When you follow that work, one of the headlines concerning that was done days before says that the DRC Congo M23 rebels announced ceasefire after peace talks in Qatar. The government of the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and Rwanda-backed M23 rebels have agreed to pause fighting as they work together toward a broader peace deal, according to the joint statement. The truce declared late on Wednesday after a round of negotiations in Qatar's capital, Doha, has raised hopes that the latest wave of violence spurred by M23's bloody January assault and capture of the DRC's two largest cities may begin to subside. Now, let me tell you something. The United States knows that she's in trouble all over the world. And she does not want to be kicked out so that she doesn't know America doesn't want to be out of the loop and in the dark. And when you have a Middle Eastern country, a Muslim country like Qatar, who's rich and wealthy getting involved in this. America just couldn't afford to be out the loop. So they have to keep on top so they can keep intelligence going. They need to have access to sensitive and very likely classified information so that America isn't completely in the dark. She comes along like she's a peacemaker and say, okay, we're going to house it then. Notice the peace agreement that Qatar brokered was unexpected. See, that's how you got to do America. And because we don't know what their emissaries and their diplomats and their officials are talking about behind the scenes, and because of the rise of multiple global blocs in the wake of this catastrophe that is a global tariff war, not to mention the secret hidden hand behind it, I'm going to be talking about that because there's a lot of stuff that they're not telling you. Trump is, yes, out of his mind in a lot of ways, but there's also another hidden hand that's involved, interconnected to his. But there's warfare that's happening over your head and under it, and I'm going to talk about that and more in my upcoming free webinar. Go to my website to save your seat. Today is coming up in a few days here in May. Save your seat on my website at VickiPlanet.com. That's VICKI planet.com. Go there. You don't want to miss it because I'm going to be talking about some of these very forces that's involved in this. But you got to understand that the United States feels pressed in. She doesn't know what's going on in all these different areas. So when these different unexpected players pop up to negotiate deals like Qatar is buddy-buddy with the United States. Qatar is a trade partner with the United States. And the United States has to keep herself in the mix, not only for the mineral-rich resources, but some of you all don't understand. There's more reasons than one that the United States wants access to the lands around the planet. It's, yes, the resources for sure, but it's something else. You don't want to miss it. Go to my website at VickiPlanet.com. Of course, share the broadcast.